There's a lot of new and interesting Assassin's Creed Shadows information that has been officially and unofficially released across the last few weeks. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's going on with this game right now and what to expect before it launches on March the 20th. And let's go through some armor set confirmations here first, because data miner Frax, who previously confirmed the Shadows game name and the existence of the Awaji DLC expansion before their official announcements, also shared an assortment of artwork back in November that looked very similar to Ubisoft's MTX designs from past games, most recently Valhalla, with many online dismissing it as just kind of AI generated rage bait, and you can kind of see why here. Well, it turns out these leaks are legitimate, as Ubisoft have now officially confirmed that this Sengoku armor set is the pre-order bonus that you will get for purchasing this game ahead of launch, with this Fire Demon set also appearing in Ubisoft's recent Animus Hub trailer, where its weapon, its chest piece and its mount, as you can kind of see here on your screen, were all teased in those kind of store thumbnails. And on top of that, this blue armor set appears to be part of a full or larger MTX pack, as it matches an image of our 6 allies who are all dressed in the same artistic concept gear, essentially. Incidentally, during my hands-on preview at Ubisoft Quebec studios last month, I confirmed that Yaya and Yagoro, 2 of our allies, can have their own cosmetic outfits changed at the dojo by yourself. So it looks like unique gear packs for allies will be included as part of a bigger MTX bundle in the store going forward. In fact, the same applies here for this cherry blossom inspired pack, where Naoe and Yasuke wear the same matching gear as the allies again here, as well as this same Japanese Kitsune fox mount. Sorry for the pronunciation there, I know that's really bad, but we had the fox mount here back in the Shinobi pack in Valhalla in 2020, which I also covered on the channel, as you can see here. So expect some sort of similar animation with this pack. Finally, we have the undead inspired armor set that shares a lot of visual similarities to the Awaji DLC, so it wouldn't at all be surprising to me if this is released before that comes out, to build some interest in that expansion. So yeah, take this all with a pinch of salt, of course, but expect all of these armor sets in the game in the next several months, if not all front loaded on day one at launch. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Now, we do have some new info regarding the pre-ordering of the standard edition of the game after Ubisoft removed the initial 3-tier system or edition system last year, following significant feedback from the community and a stretch of poor financial performance. Firstly, the Sengoku pack that we just spoke about will now be a pre-order bonus in the revamped digital deluxe edition, but it can also be obtained by pre-ordering the standard edition for $69 at Amazon, where you'll get Naoe's armor set, or $69 at Walmart, which comes with Yasuke's armor set instead. So it depends which one you want, really. But if you're not, or if you don't want either of them actually, and you're not fussed about gear sets, Target is offering you the official Steelbook case as their pre-order bonus, which, by the way, is from the collector's edition. I think it's a touch of class. I think it actually looks pretty sick, to be honest with you. That said, if you're a little more cultured and you frequent at Best Buy when it comes to your shopping, well, they're offering you the lithograph set as a pre-order incentive, which is basically a couple of printed concept art pieces on some high quality paper. And if you pre-order from any of these retailers, you'll also get the Claws of Awaji expansion and the Throne to the Dog's Quest for free. So if you're actually planning on picking up the game, or you were looking at the digital deluxe edition, I think it's worth actually picking one of these retailers and saving yourself $15, because it's essentially a digital deluxe edition, but for the price of the standard edition. But as for my European and the rest of the world friends, we as usual were left out in the cold. We get nothing, which is classic, but I will update you if that does change. Now, if you fancy unlocking a free weapon for Yasuke before the game releases, Sprecher Brewery has partnered with Ubisoft, where you can actually scan a QR code on one of their root beer cans to redeem an in-game weapon on your Ubisoft Connect account before it comes out. Now, the funny thing is here, though, the marketing team for the brand have accidentally put the QR code on their website. So you don't even need to buy the beer or be in the States. You can actually just scan this QR code on your screen, here, on your browser, and then this opens up this website, which I will just put the link down for you in the description so it's easier for you to access. And once you're there, you just need to enter your details, or you can just use tempmail.org to then generate a throwaway email, and then you just need to wait for your code to arrive. And once it does, click the official redemption link in the email, log in to your Ubisoft account, and then enter the Sprecher brewery code here, and then you'll get confirmation that the weapon has been attached to your Ubisoft account, and then it's going to then show up in-game on launch day for you. Now, we haven't seen any promos for Naoe yet, which will almost certainly mean that we are going to, and there's going to be more free gear and weapons that are certainly on the way. In fact, Access the Animus reported back in November that Ubisoft partnered with Red Bull before Shadows was delayed. So I wouldn't at all be surprised again if we see something similar with a marketing push from Red Bull in the next month or couple weeks, especially as Ubisoft did the same thing with Origins and Monster Energy with their partnership back in 2017, where you could actually unlock several weapons assigned to different monster cans for Bayek just by redeeming all of the codes from those cans. So if you haven't already, do subscribe, and actually also like the video for future updates then pop up on your feed, as I'll keep doing the research for you on this game so you don't have to. Now, we've also got some interesting insider info here that I think you'll very much want to hear, because in Ubisoft's most recent financial call a couple weeks ago, CEO Yves Guillemot addressed concerns about another delay from shareholders, stating, "We are fully focused on the upcoming launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows for March the 20th. And Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming also cited his internal Ubisoft sources, stating that they felt confident that the game will hit its March release date, and also that it's pretty much done, which is encouraging news. He also reported that Shadows has around 300,000 pre-orders that have already been made for the game, with Ubisoft officially telling shareholders in this call that the game is trending in line with Assassin's Creed Odyssey in terms of pre-order sales. Now, for context, Odyssey is the second highest grossing AC game behind Valhalla, selling 10 million copies and driving 170% increase, if memory serves, in microtransaction revenue compared to Origins, which, by the way, is exactly why we are now seeing so many MTX armor sets ready at launch, well, presumably ready for launch when it comes to Shadows, because Ubisoft really needs the money badly. And not only are they on an aggressive £200 million cost-cutting spree at the moment, but their revenue is also down 35% from last year. But that said, there is one financial bright spot in the Ubisoft portfolio, and that's the strong Steam performance of Mirage, which is actually a perfect transition onto the topic of Steam now, because Ubisoft recently announced on their X account that several notable updates will be posted in the lead up to launch in this next month. The first was a tech Q&A that was posted last week and answered community questions on how the game will run across all platforms. And let's start with what we know of the PC now, because if you've got the hardware to run it, you will be able to play Shadows at 4K 60 FPS on your PC. And I'm actually going to pop up the low, medium and high settings, or the recommendations from Ubisoft to what to play this game on, and I would say just take a screenshot if you want to review them in detail later. But when it comes to Steam, thanks to a solid question from Your Raptor, we now have confirmation that you don't need to download the Ubisoft Connect launcher to play the game. You'll just need to link your Ubisoft account to Steam ahead of time before downloading it, which will also enable cross-save progression across platforms if you do want to play the game on your console. And because of the minimum PC specs, if you were hoping to play this on a Steam Deck at launch, that's not going to be possible initially, is what they said, but I imagine that they'll kind of tinker around the edges with the game post-launch and make it compatible. And cheers to Luke Stevens, for asking that great question. Now, Ubisoft also confirmed that there will be 3 ray tracing settings to choose from, those being selective, standard and extended ray tracing, which they recently showcased to demonstrate the difference between low and high settings in the game. And to be fair to them, I think this looks pretty good even on the lower settings. That doesn't look too bad to me, but we're gonna have to wait and see. But what about consoles? What's actually going on with them? Well, good news, because Ubisoft have confirmed that both the PS5 and Xbox Series X will run the game at 60 FPS with a 4K resolution that is upscaled when it's set to performance mode. Now, they have stated a more detailed breakdown of console settings will be coming closer to launch, similar to what we've just had a look at here on the PC settings, on the specs. But what does upscaling to 4K actually mean for your console, and why is it a good thing for Shadows? Well, essentially, the game will be running at either 1080p or 1440p resolution with a 60 FPS frame rate, thanks to the AI upscaling technology from Nvidia, AMD and Intel, which are partners of Shadows. And the resolution is then stretched to kind of appear as 4K, even though it's technically not native 4K resolution. Now, this is a positive for most of us with 4K monitors or TVs because we won't really notice the difference unless we look very closely at the screen. But in exchange for this, the upscaling prevents our consoles from overheating. It kind of maintains smooth performance and it keeps those 60 FPS frames feeling buttery smooth in game, which is a chef's kiss. That's what we want to see. That's what we need in our games. Now, as for file size, Apple recently updated their Shadows webpage, their official website, listing the required file size at around 123 gigabytes on Mac, meaning it's likely to be slightly lower on consoles and PC, just going off historic estimates. So expect somewhere between 90 and 110 gigabytes at launch, just to manage your expectations, get some space ready for this game if you do plan to play it. Now, I've been seeing a few of you ask about the objective or quest board menu in the last few videos, because it's a little bit confusing, especially after the recent exploration article, which didn't really explain what it does very well, in my opinion. But the best way to think about this menu is by splitting it into 3 sections. Well, I'm going to put it up on your screen right now. So if you're listening to this within your headphones, worth just popping this up on your screen, because this middle section here is tracking all of the mandatory main storyline quests, including the hunting and assassination of the 12 Shinbaku targets, so the main storyline targets. Above that, thanks to our most recent clip from Ubisoft, we can now see that this is called the League, which includes unique quest lines for our allies, as well as character-specific quests for Naoe and Yasuke. And in the bottom section of this menu, we have a faction here called the Kabuki Mono, and the best way to think of them is like cultists in Odyssey. They are optional, meaning you don't have to locate or kill them if you just want to play through the main story, with several dozen factions available in the game for us to engage with, just like these guys. Now, for the top half of the board, we have the People of Setsu, which denotes a group of quest givers that live in that specific region and provide optional side quests. And you can actually see the region here from my own captured footage. In fact, one of the quests from this dude in Setsu is to actually kill the leaders of the Kabuki Mono faction, as they're causing problems for the people in this province, as just kind of an example. So expect more quest-giving factions and boards like this to appear around the middle of this board when you explore the world. Now, another mechanic I want to explain in more detail for you, because it will be unavoidable in this game, and that's smuggling, which means you need to steal resources and return them back to your hideout to upgrade different buildings of your choice. So if you've played the river raids in Valhalla, this resource restriction or game mechanic by upgrading Ravensthorpe works the same way here in Shadows. Now, across the map, clans are kind of warring again, they're battling against each other, right? But unlike in Odyssey, we can't influence that ourselves. Instead, all we can do is identify which fortresses, castles, clan hideouts, bandit camps, whatever, have the most resources to steal from. And this is marked on the map or on our main menu on a tooltip, and that's called a wealth rank, where it can be high, medium, or low when you hover over a location on the map. And of course, high wealth locations will offer more resources than low wealth locations, the trade-off being that they're going to be more heavily guarded if they've got high wealth. However, once you stealth in, or you then just clear the camp and enter the warehouse, you can tag resources for your scouts to retrieve by kind of wrapping this ribbon around them. And once that is then done, you will then see a salvage icon appear on your map screen, which I'll just zoom in here for now for you, as you can see, which now means a scout is assigned to bring back 78 stone back to your hideout at the end of the season, which you can't undo. Once you send that scout to collect that stuff, that's it. You've got to wait till the season ends before you can kind of get him back. So the only issue here is we need to make sure that we have enough scouts to smuggle resources between seasons, because if you just run around and grind out loads of bases or castles very quickly, then you're just going to run out of scouts fast and you're just going to leave resources on the table, essentially. Now, when it comes to specific modes in this game, I want to quickly break down and clarify what immersion, canon, guided, and pathfinder modes actually do, so it's quite clear. They seem to be modeled up a bit online. It's quite confusing. So let's go over immersive mode first, because it's a setting option that automatically sets or locks the voiceover language to Japanese and Portuguese, and it's designed to provide a more authentic experience for the time period. In fact, Ubisoft recently released a teaser showcasing what this sounds like. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to play this for you so you can have a listen for yourself. Pretty cool. Now, there's also a new mechanic called the canon mode, which automatically selects dialogue answers for you. So if you prefer a non-dialogue choice gaming experience, make sure you do activate it from the beginning. Otherwise, you're going to be manually choosing responses, which doesn't actually impact the game's ending at all, by the way, as there's only one canon ending that we will all experience. So it's really your call on how you want to play this game when it comes to immersion. Thirdly, we have the guided exploration mode, which works like the traditional RPG style quest markers in past Assassin's Creed games. So turning this on will automatically display quest objectives on your map, whereas the Shadow's navigational default settings is designed and intended to make you actually figure it out for yourself. And to be super clear, I'm just going to put our side-by-side map comparison on screen now so you can kind of see the difference between the two settings here. Or alternatively, you can just use the Pathfinder mode by toggling it on and on in game, which guides you through the world to your next objective without needing to or prompting you to constantly check the map menu to figure out where you're going. Now, a new and very interesting development to go over here is thanks to Kevin of AC Brotherhood News on Twitter or X or whatever it's called these days, who made a great discovery recently about the newly updated clause of a Waji DLC webpage. But I just want to bring your attention to this particular section, which is a bit of artwork, which is just of the hidden blade, right? Well, yes, but the thing is, as Kevin pointed out, this is not Naoe's blade, which I'll also pop up on your screen right now just for kind of comparison. Instead, it's the exact same design as Darius's hidden blade from the Legacy of the First Blade DLC in AC Odyssey, which, by the way, if you didn't know, was also developed by Ubisoft Quebec. Now, you could say this is just a placeholder image or a generic hidden blade image added into the webpage, which I don't think it is, because I don't think they made like prominent mistakes like that. I also think this is absolutely deliberate, and it's like them teasing or hiding an Easter egg in plain sight, because when I interviewed the game director Charles Benoit last month in Quebec, I specifically asked him about the potential for future crossover expansions in Shadows, similar to what we saw with Kassandra and Eivor in Valhalla. In fact, I recorded the interview, so take a listen to what he had to say when I asked him this question.
There will be more updates in the future. For example, in Valhalla, there was like a crossover between Kassandra and Eivor. Is that within the scope or something like that to happen in the future consideration?
For sure. You will see with the hub what it can offer. But for sure with the hub, it allows us to release things that we can link to the hub, link to SEC Shadow. So we'll have release of different things. Yeah, it's still under construction.
Sure, I get you. Yeah.
But you can expect updates.
Now, he's clearly referring to the Animus Hub in his answers here, and if you don't know what that is or how it connects to a possible Kassandra crossover, then good news, because I've got you covered. I go over it all in detail in this video on your screen right now, so do give that a click, and you'll get a better understanding of why Kassandra may be appearing in Shadows within the next 12 months. Thanks to Nika for all of her help with this video. Thanks to you for stopping by, and as usual, coffee is on me.